In today's Nintendo Direct, ATLUS announced the Etrian Odyssey Origins Collection, and it's a collection of 3 Etrian Odyssey games coming to Switch from DS systems, and I just kind of wanted to take a minute to talk about what I think, what I'm hopeful for, and some other issues I've had. I think the first thing that I want to talk about is I am excited for these games. I think that they look great, they look fun, they obviously look a lot like Persona Q and Persona Q2, which I'm a huge fan of, because I know Persona Q is an Etrian Odyssey game pretty much. So I am really excited to try these out for the first time in HD and on the Switch. Another thing I wanted to touch on was the price of the game, and this has been very controversial, like on Twitter especially at the moment. So what they're charging is $80 for the pack of 3, or you can get them for $40 each. And in my opinion, that price is just too high. I mean, we're talking about 3 DS games pretty much, and I don't think that they should be at $40 each or $80 for the collection. I think that's asking too much from what I would say would maybe be fair in my opinion is maybe $20 each and $60 for the bundle. I think that's more than fair for the 3 games. I also understand that ATLUS has redone the controls so it fits on the Switch, because obviously they don't have the bottom screen and top screen like you did on DS. So they've changed some things up there which look cool. And another thing I wanted to talk about was my excitement for the potential other projects that ATLUS could do now that they've announced these games, because what this means for me basically is that there is a possibility of Persona Q and Persona Q2 ports, which would be my number one wish for Nintendo Switch, I think. And another thing is a potential Persona Q3 game, if ATLUS ever wanted to do that. I mean, if this goes well, they've experimented with how these DS controls in Etrian Odyssey could work on the Switch, and I think if that they used this to kind of see what would work for Persona Q and Q2 in that franchise, that they could definitely start releasing them in the future. Another thing that I would say I'm disappointed on is the fact that ATLUS doesn't seem to be releasing this in a physical copy, at least in Europe and the US. I think they're doing it in Japan. So unfortunately I think it's digital only for us in the West, which I think is unfortunate, because I would love to see, physical copies with some DLC. The DLC for me looked good since it was Mega 10 and Persona characters in that style, which I'm a huge fan of. There is a couple months until this releases, so maybe ATLUS does make some changes towards price and if they want to do a physical release or not. I'm sure they're thinking about how popular this might be in the West. They're not really too sure since it is kind of a less known franchise from ATLUS. So I'd believe that they'll be a bit more hesitant to do something like a physical launch. And that's about it for my thoughts, my views on Etrian Odyssey. I am still very excited for these games. I wish the price would go down a little bit. I think it's a bit too much to ask for ports of DS games. And I also want to see what you guys think. Do you think the price is too high? Do you want to see a physical release for this game of any sorts? But that's about it from me. See ya.